Welcome, everyone. I'm your host, Jeni Ji Cousins, and this is Soul to Soul Connections with Jeni Ji. Now, I'm on a lot of different platforms. You can find me out there. There's different links below, but subscribe to my channel in order to get new video contents. There's a lot of content coming out weekly on my channel, and it's building with a lot more events coming up, which you're going to be notified about. So you can follow me on social media, look up Jeni Cousins. I'm everywhere, Jeni Ji, Soul to Soul Connections, all my columns and everything, and so on. So today I have a really exciting guest, and some of you are going to know who this exciting guest is. So because he has quite the extensive resume, oh my goodness sakes, I'm going to ask him to give a little bit of his rundown, and then I'm going to ask him some questions. So please welcome my guest, Pat Savage, from the hit television series, The Savage Roads. And also he's a famous known musician. So Pat, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to interview you. I know you're such a busy guy.
And you are a busy girl, and it's so nice to meet you at last. I've followed you, seen some of your shows and podcasts, and I'm here. You're excellent, and you're doing well. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So now, can you give our viewers a rundown, just like a short rundown, pretty much, of who you are?
I wish I had a guitar. I was born in the crossfire hurricane. My dad was a musician. He played a lot of instruments. My mom's family, Irish, were all singers, choir singers. So I grew up just totally immersed in music. When my sister was born, she was 2, and I sat on my dad's knee with his guitar, and we did Big Bad John, and we did a Young Love, First Love. Like, I was 2, right? And so always in choir, always in the band, always in acting. Although I was in every school play I was in Catholic school, so they had more of a budget for all these things back in those days, back in the old times. And so I've always been on the stage doing something, mostly to make my mom laugh. We had a kind of dramatic life with my father, and very intense. So this was the escape from the pain and the misery and all the hard stuff that, so that's what I kind of do on stage: make people happy, make them smile. 50,000, 100,000, I don't know, it depends how big it is. It's harder when it's bigger, but when you get it going, it's great. And now I'm back to when I was 7 years old, wanting to. My grandfather gave me this Panaflex camera. And it's a similar story to Scorsese's. I think he was 7 or 8, and his grandfather or his father gave him a Panaflex camera. This is very old, simple, but a Hollywood camera. So here I am, 7. I can barely, and I also got a 68 Nikon camera. Like it was like a tank for a 7-year-old, right? So I was in the creative side too. I was always drawing, painting, since I remember. Cartoons mostly, not so much people, but like scenery and cartoons and animated things. So I had gift in that area as well. And that comes from my father's side and my mom's side, Irish and Bavarian, Austrian, Bavarian. They were quite, I don't know, bravado, whatever it is. And then into my teens, music took over, and I did a stint with the Doobie Brothers. Well, splintered into the Doobie Brothers. Not all of them were in. Some were in rehab, and in and out of rehab, and so it was more of a sideman. And Eddie Money and a bunch of other bands and the other. But I'm not dropping names. That's not why I'm here. But a lot of people. You're gonna read it on my website. And now I'm full circle, and I hope this has covered everything pretty much. Now I'm doing the TV show The Savage Roads, where I go, how old is this pyramid, and what are we drinking and eating? And it's not like biker, Sons of Anarchy or America Chopper. Well, my dad. No, this is like travel and music and art and friendships and brotherhood, and what does it mean to be in a club? And it's getting into, well, you'll see soon. The Greek episode is the best of the 3. Spain, We shot Spain. We shot Italy, and then came the pandemic. Okay, so that gave me a couple years to explore and actually opened a lot of doors. A lot of executives were sitting in their undershorts with their families and children at home, right when the first pandemic hit. So they hit the Zoom, they hit the Skype, they hit the, you know what I mean. The playing field is really leveled. This sounds odd, but in the COVID, all the negative things that happened, and a lot of people are dying. Let's not even go there. But on a level of you don't have to go to LA. You don't have to set up a meeting with Joe, record producer, or somebody's office, and you got a half an hour to do your pitch and blah blah blah. No, you got him on on Zoom in his underpants with his wife in the kitchen and the kids are at home. And this is a corporate executive guy. So that's what happened to me anyway. It was really lovely. So, but I have a reputation already. So anyway, that's about it. I'm up to date. Anything else you'd like to know?
So what season are you on with your show? Isn't this season number 2 you're working on?
This is just no. This is just the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah, no, nothing signed. We've been, we worked. It started out with before the pandemic. It started out with Travel Channel. They wanted it, but they wanted all the music royalties. They wanted all the merchandise. They wanted all, but you'll be famous. And I'm like, sorry. So as the streaming took over, like I say, they don't pay so much. I don't know how much it is in the 20,000s, 30,000. I really don't know. The lawyers will do all that. But the shut up. But the I'm not really interested in all that. I'm interested in showing the family, the 99% of us, you, me, whoever, that enjoys not just Harleys, but traveling by motorcycle, and not the stereotypical one percenter. Let's just call them that without dropping any names. And they love my music too.
Like, what is your show about? Right. So if somebody wanted
it's about me,
like when your show comes out. Yeah.
Well, basically, it's about my travels around the world. I've been doing it so long. I was started by writing it for Thunder Press and a bunch of big magazines. You can find, if you just Google Pat Savage, you can literally drink a 6-pack and just keep going and going. And I do it once a month. I'll go and I'll see, there's an interview I missed, right? Somewhere in some country I forgot about, Guatemala, or a concert in somewhere. So, but that's toned down now that because of pandemic, we lost a big world tour, our biggest actually. And then the next year we lost another. Yeah, I won't even mention numbers, but it was a lot of money. So we all worked on different things. I kept working on the show because luckily I had some bank, and I had to help my twin daughters in Canada. Dad, we lost our jobs. Okay, how much is your rent? Luckily it was Canadian, eh? Like me.
Yeah.
Because the euro is, it's let's not even talk about that. But anyways, So
when did you start writing? Like, when did you start writing for Harley?
Writing? Well, the story goes, it's a legendary story, and I'll keep it short. The story goes that my dad took my mom down to Toronto on Cherry Beach, and it's a kind of back in the late 50s. This would have been 58. On his Harley, a 55 Panhead. He always tells me that. And they had made love on the Panhead, and the police came just after the copulation was done. And like 9 months to the day, yours truly popped out. So I was literally conceived on a Harley. And they say, that's not a true story. That's just a publicist's dream. I said, no, ask my mom, ask my dad. But now they're both passed, so I can't really, you just have to take my word for it. That's what they told me. So literally, born on a Harley, and but I'm not atypical. And like I said, I'm a Buddhist. I'm not been through a hell of a life. My book is coming out after the show is out, season 1. Then I'll put my book out. So You Want to Sing the Blues, and it's much more personal. The tragedy I saw, the things I went through as a child, and everything, and I won't even talk about here. That gave me the blues, the guy where I got the edge, where I got the intention and the strength.
So, like, because you've traveled, like you've literally traveled, like, to so many different countries. Out of all the countries and like locations that you've traveled to, where do you have like a favorite, like, town or country?
That's a good one.
Because I was looking at all these places by far, and there's 2 places there's one place for me
Yeah,
where
yeah.
you've been to that stands out more than any others.
Yeah, that like your top, I'd have to say top five. I couldn't say just the top
Okay,
one. I don't
top
know.
five.
I usually keep before the pandemic, I always had three or four residences that I could pop into, and my friends mostly took advantage of them all while I was traveling. But I really love Amsterdam, not because of the weed or anything, but because of the general splendor of the place. The mixed races, everybody's cool. Cops don't carry guns. The crime rate is like zero. I mean, other than the junkies steal bicycles and people give them $10 so they can get a hit, and then the police take the bicycle, and it's a kind of accepted tolerance, or I don't know how to explain that one. But anyways, I spent 17 years there with my band, who are Dutch. Girl drummer Bauka, she's amazing. She rides Harley too. Peter rides Ducati, and he's Croatian, Italian, Sudanese on the bass. He's badass on the bass. And we're a trio. And for a long time, we had Jacqueline, another Dutch girl, who played keyboards and sax. And but that's another story, more personal story in that one. Yeah, the relationship that shouldn't have happened but did. And then the manager said, "You know what? You got to get rid of that sax player." And then a producer in Norway said the same thing. "She's not that good, man. You must be in love with her or something." I'm like, wake up call. Yeah, it was very difficult. So we got rid of Jacqueline, but she got married and had children, and everything's cool. Nice.
Wow. Yeah, because I noticed, like, for me, that, like, whenever I was looking at all the places you traveled, what stood out for me personally is the Himalayas and Nepal. For me, there is a real
Oh yeah,
personal,
Nepal. That's
yeah,
my
for
favorite
me,
place.
Nepal, the
That's what I was getting
Himalayas,
to.
that's for me.
Yeah, I'm done with Amsterdam. That was during a period of, that was pre-pandemic, and
Yeah.
then I got into Spain, and I love southern Spain. But now that the war is going on, there's like a zillion, and I'm not prejudiced whatsoever in my heart in any way. There's a lot of people displaced from the war, Ukrainian, Russian, and now there's a million people in the little town where I used to love, because there's about 80,000. So I moved to an island. Now I live in Greece, a
Hmm.
small island. It's
Yeah.
just, yeah, it's for me better to create and have an office and a studio that's remote, that I can bring our bands. That's a whole nother story. Once the TV show starts generating a lot of money from the merchandise, from the music, from all that, then we can develop the record label, with our artists from all over the world that are sprinkled on throughout the episodes, generating amazing royalties in 220 countries.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, it's not like radio. Radio takes all your
Yeah.
royalties. The company signed with, those guys are recouping their advances and stuff and more. And you know the story of that. Black
Hmm.
Sabbath, Led Zeppelin, whoever, they've all been ripped off. Bowie.
Hmm.
So not me
Yeah,
though.
because
I stayed independent.
you've
Go
opened
ahead.
up for like some really amazing musicians like Joe Cocker and Leonard Skinner, BB King, Marshall Tucker Band, Stephen Wolf, so many famous bands. Does one band stand out for you more that you enjoyed? Because I mean, there's several known bands. Is there one band more specific that you enjoyed opening up for more? Like, you don't have to give all the reasons why, right? But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, for me, ultimately, as a guitar player, and kind of, I spent bunch of years in Vancouver being a top blues guy there, but I was always a little bit more on the rock side, blues rock guitar player. After
Mhm.
playing in a Living After Midnight cover band with big hair and everything, 80, 81, 82, I went, nah, this is not for me. I was 22, and I was pretty young. And then I met I'm on the way home from one of those gigs. This is an exclusive story because I don't think I've ever told it. I was walking home. I lived in the Hotel Europe in downtown Vancouver, which is like this cool iron shaped building, and a lot of artists in there, and it's really hard to get a spot. But one of my mates was leaving town, and I was going to California in a couple months. So he just said, "Here, take my place for a couple months." Cut to, I'm walking home past the Town Pump, this bar, about 1,000 seater, well, mostly everybody standing, concert venue. and Albert Collins is in there, the great blues master, and he's playing away, and I got my guitar on my back. And I'm walking by, I know the doorman. Who's that, man? Oh, that's Albert Collins. Next thing I know, hey, you, come on up here. And I'm like, huh? I'm looking around, and I'm looking. He's, yeah, you. So he saw the guitar, right? And it was the Telecaster. Changed my life forever. You're a blues man. Afterwards, we drank wine, and he just told me, you're a blues man, and you had a hard life, I can tell. And he was totally right. But I was a white bread Toronto boy, homeboy. Rush, of course, and but so many other Max Webster, and I always leaning towards the eclectic. But anyways, I hope I'm not meandering around too much. I've forgotten the original question. Sorry.
No, but all events that you opened up for.
My favorite.
There's been some amazing bands, right? Too many, of course, to go on.
Yeah,
and on.
they're all
Was
mostly.
there one more I mean, I love Joe Cocker,
Well, I was thinking of the people who inspired me the most, and one was that Albert Collins telling me I was a blues man, and I immediately dropped the big hair and I cut my hair short and I took a totally different route. I became a top Vancouver blues act, and then into the States, and then Detroit happened, but then I met the Doobie Brothers, and I became like acoustic, like the old Doobies. I love the early stuff, and I just fell into that. I was 26.
Yeah,
and they were very volatile and very. I don't want to say too much about them.
Yeah, no.
Once they sue me for libelous, and I'm like,
yes,
okay, no, never mind. But it meant a lot to me because it brought me right up into the higher areas of rock and roll, and had a brief taché with Eddie Money and a whole bunch of people. But I really like opening for big acts because most of the time they get me on guitar, or they'll get, they'll add us. Peter plays harmonicas, so they'll get him on harp. And, we're doing the biggest Harley Davidson stuff in the world, and rock festivals and blues festivals. So depending on the festival, it depends what happens. No, I'm not gonna brag. No, never mind. I wanted to say something. I never say anything bad about anybody. So
no,
I just had a funny thought about a blues on the farm in London when we the unknown headliner got his butt kicked, and and it wasn't on purpose. We just did our thing, and we got the Dutch edge, and I don't know, it's just magic. My band is really magic. So now everything's changed. Sorry, go on.
So you're also crowned the king of biker music by the motorcycle press all over the world.
Yeah, most of the magazines that know me, it was first mentioned in 100% Biker in London, in England, because I'd moved over here, signed with the Sony Europe, basically, but based in Berlin because I lived in Hamburg, and I started out in Germany. But yeah, I played like 86 countries now, or 88 countries, specifically for HOG, Harley Group, Harley Davidson Club, HOG. Even did a couple of Hells Angels gigs, the big ones in England, the Bulldog Bash, and one in Italy called Rolling Cows. Respectfully, they loved us. The crowd was great, and then proper blues festivals and stuff. But the problem is we outpriced ourselves because now it's all different because of the pandemic. So, but yeah, the pandemic pretty much killed 2 tours with a lot of money, and that's okay. A lot of people lost a lot worse. Lost everything in their houses and everything. So
because you started writing songs about the Harley lifestyle. Yeah. So that's why you were advanced with the biker magazines and such like that. And
well, there is if I can give you the story, I'll keep it Reader's Digest condensed, and I tend to be Chatty Patty. That's my official nickname, is a Chatty Patty. I'm very open and just free forming it. I have no bullet points in front of me, so I hope that's okay. But the whole biker thing sort of started with being conceived on a Harley, whatever. Yeah, there's something there. And growing up riding in a sidecar, and always dad and uncles and cousins and all, they were immersed in the Harley scene. But not the bad guys. They were just Harley guys. My dad was an electrician, not club guys. They were all just family guys, home guys, which is what we're showing on my show. not club stuff. Anyways, a little bit of club stuff, but what the heck was I saying now? Please help me along. I'm very tired. I just flew in from England, so I'm like a little bit.
I know.
I apologize.
No, don't
Yeah, jet
apologize.
lag.
No, no, I'm always grateful. Always grateful. So I also
Me
noticed
too.
that you dedicated some of your music to the firefighters. Why was that? Like, how did that happen?
Okay, that was when I first moved to. Well, first I lived in the first year I lived in. I'm going to take out these bracelets. Um, in when I first landed there, my first gigs were in the Netherlands and Belgium in what they call Benelux, Luxembourg, Belgium, and Netherlands. And they have a thing called the Benelux Rally, and they move it every year from those three countries around, and it's pretty big. Mostly European, well, mostly European bikers. But I went over there after being proclaimed the king of biker music at Daytona and all the American ones. I did around and around and around for like 10 years. I was like, okay, it's time to go somewhere else and boogie. Right, I have to travel. So I moved to Europe. I got a deal, and away we went.
Hmm.
But anyways, what was your question again, dear? I'm sorry. It's
The
8,000 degrees
firefighters,
here.
the firefighters. I noticed that
Oh
you
yeah.
did.
Okay,
Yeah.
cut two. I'm at the Harley Davidson Club Kempen. Hello, guys. If you're watching, you probably will be watching this. Harley Davidson Club Kempen. You gave me my first break, and I played for I think it was about 12,000. It's called Harley Davidson Club. Hog tends to be in Norwegian. They say Hotel Og Gourmet, which means Richie Rich. I'm general. They spend their money and they buy my CDs too, and they like my music. And I'm not a I don't judge anybody. I'm not a class warrior. Cut
It's
to I'm a little bit tired and a little bit spacey here.
okay.
Yeah. What was your question?
About the
We
firefighters,
do
the
have the editor.
firefighters.
Hi, editor. Nice to meet you.
Don't
Sorry.
worry.
Go on.
It's
No,
keeping
no, I
it
know we can
real,
always.
right? Yeah.
It is real. I know. Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I just
Yeah.
lost my way there a little bit because I'm tired and I'm really, really hot. I'm gonna turn this. Let's see if tell me if this makes a difference. I turned the fan off because of the sound.
Yeah, don't
I'm
worry.
a sound guy. Yeah, yeah, but without it on. Oh, there we go. Well, maybe I should open my door. Oh, it is open. Okay. To get a little breeze. There's just no breeze right now. So, anyways, dear, go on. I
It's
apologize.
okay. It's okay. So
Well, I'm
now
not apologizing, but yeah.
it's okay.
Go ahead.
So, when did you score your first record deal?
Well, that was in 2003, 20 years ago, about halfway through my career. I kept it independent. We sold cassettes. Remember cassettes? I don't know if you're old enough to remember
Yes, I
cassettes. And
do.
then
8 tracks.
and albums and cassettes back in those days made for good rolling. And then yeah, when I went to Europe and I signed with, I don't want to go through all the details because it was a
No,
little
no, I
bit,
don't want the details. No, just
no.
roughly.
I'm just saying I started out with one record label and ended up they were being crooked, and so my people intervened and straightened that out, and I went directly to with Sony.
Yeah.
Imagine walking into your record company. This I can tell you this. Walking into your record company, you meet the guy. Hello, he's a little bit taller than you. He's German, and he just lies to you and lies to you and lies to you, and you look through your CD and go, "Who is this?" Oh, it's one of our artists. I thought I'd give them some free promotion on your CD. I'm like going, "Oh, is that right? Eh? Okay." You know, and I'm looking and I go through and it's, oh my God. Then I get to the back and it says Sony on there. Oh, I forgot to tell you. Yes, we got our foot in the door. So from that point on, within 3 months, I broke all ties and was with Sony because that was just horseshit. And pardon my language. I hope you don't mind. Gets me. I'm a Leo. You're a Leo, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yes. The
Wow.
two lions here.
Yeah,
Meow.
exactly.
That's what I like to do. Yeah,
So
yeah.
now,
I'm
if
sorry. No, I'm not
no,
sorry. I'm
don't,
just
it's okay.
babbling.
It's okay.
Yeah.
I keep it
Tired,
real,
overtired.
as I keep saying, right?
Yeah,
Like
I
that's
know.
why
This
it's
is
like
real.
that's why I call it like my show Soul to Soul Connections, because it's like that connection soul to
Yes.
soul, having that one-on-one
Yes.
conversation, right? So
Exactly.
now,
And
so Pat,
honest and open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why
I
I
am
keep it real.
apologizing too much. It's not my nature, but I'm just a
It's
bit crispy.
okay. It's okay. So now, if you, of all people that have passed on or that is still alive, that's a musician, if you could play with one musician that is either passed on or alive, who would that person be and why? Because I know you played with a lot
That
of,
would be my
yeah.
that would be my best friend Jeff Healy. I'd say probably. He was blind and he was 18 and he came. I was playing the Horseshoe in Toronto, Horseshoe Club, and little Joe Rockman and Tommy came up and said, "Yeah, this is Jeff. He's 18 and he's a mother and he's blind, right? Is it okay if he gets up and plays with you guys?" And we're like, "Hell yeah, sure, come on." That's just when it all happened. So I rode through him with him through that whole thing. Colin James, same thing. And we all remain great friends. But I didn't get to be so big because I didn't sign those tricky contracts that yeah, we won't even go there. So I own my music, and now we're going to be streaming it on Netflix, and my children and my children's children will have money, hopefully,
So you play the
when I'm
rock and the
gone.
blues, or like for those people who don't know, your music is more like rock and the blues.
Well, I'll tell you what, this new album that I'm putting out called Dream of Odin, I recorded it. Let's see, 6 or 7 years ago, and it is so appropriate for today's times, like for what's happening now. And yet it's very 70s Prague. I mean, Rush,
Mhm.
King Crimson, Bowie, Pink Floyd. It's a mix. Boston. I mean, there's a sort of a 70s motif to it, I think.
Yeah.
A little bit of Zepp in there, a little bit of, it's all my influences, my original influences again, like the TV show. Now I'm doing what I started out to do when I was 7, which was I want to make TV, and I studied film in Sheridan College in '76 and '77. Now I'm dating myself, and I got my degree and everything, and then rock and roll just took me away, and away I went and became famous on that. And now full circle, I'm done with all that. Pandemic sort of finished that, and I'm living my dream by making this TV show and being in it and being real
Yeah.
and showing the sensitive side to bikers, showing the family side to bikers, the hardworking people, the charitable bikers, the 99% of us, 99.
Yeah.
No disrespect to the 1%. They love my music. I know them all over the world. We're featuring you, me, just anybody. Rich characters. Actually, everybody so far has been somebody went, "You got to be on my show." You'll see. You'll see. Like in really characters, like I can just shut up or try to shut up, and they'll tell the story of this church or this
Yeah.
statue or this bar or this whatever whatever we're doing, the club, their club, or their
Hmm.
what they do for children. Or I got firefighter bikers, and you asked me that question, and that's what happened. I played. Okay, I finally am going to answer this. Editors, you can cut to and remove, and yeah, all the bollocks in the middle. Belgium, Harley Davidson Club Kempen. These two crazy looking guys came up to me, and Chris, Barry and Chris, and they were both firemen, fire chiefs, and they were like the president of Wind and Fire Motorcycle Club, which is all firefighters and first responders. A lot of ETS and EPS, and all these people. So we would like, would you wear our colors for it to represent us? And I had just broken into Europe, and they knew that I had already done Bikers Against Child Abuse because I was an abused child, and I said, yeah, I'll wear for Dallas. But then it was went all political, and I moved from Dallas to Europe, and just sort of I gave them back their colors. But I like to represent charitable bikers, again, like I said, the good guys. So I wore their colors first for it was European representative. Basically, I just look out to the crowd and go, "Any firefighters out there?" And Germany or wherever, and two hands come up or three, or meet me after the show over there, And that grew into that album, Wind and Fire, is still my favorite. And I recorded it in Thailand, of all places, in one of my Buddhist retreats. And I did all the instruments except for the female vocals, obviously, and I think there's a little bit of keyboards that I didn't do. Also, that was brilliant. But that whole Wind and Fire, everybody was telling me, and I think it was my seventh album. Everybody said, "Yeah, Paul McCartney did his seventh album. He played all the instruments himself." Something again I've always dreamt of doing. So I did it, and it won awards, and it's probably my favorite biker themed. It's for free on all of them, on all the platforms, iTunes, and just all of them, Spotify. So you can get them for free. There's a couple of my albums for free. The best of the blues is free, I believe, and a couple of my singles. But now I'm just pitching. I hope you don't mind. You can cut me out.
I mean, we're gonna put your links, like your information will be below anyways, right? So people can take a look at it and such. So now you also have a blog, Savage Soul Body Mind Blogs. What is your blog about? I mean, I've read your blog, right? Like what is your blog
the
about?
whole other side of Savage, which is Buddhist, white clothes, white shoes, living in Nepal for 6 months every winter. Can't wait to get back there. And usually helping orphanages or doing some kind of work, losing weight, walking up and down the hills all the time, and hanging out in Buddhist temples, and do a cleansing thing in between the, hey, how you doing, rock and roll biker cruise around. Yo, took a selfie, man. Have a beer. Then I go yin yang. The other half of the year, I'm like in Tibet or somewhere. I haven't been to Tibet yet. It's a little bit expensive. Nepal's really lovely. I like to go to Morocco. I'm sort of tempted to go there now, but I know myself I'd want to stay and help people, but I can't do that right now because I'm
and they just had an earthquake too.
I can't get away from the computer. I got this is on all the time. Two phones here.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yep. So how do you find peace? I mean, we all do it in our own way, but for you, how do you find peace?
Well, these are prayer beads, more or less. Okay. Buddhist. When I say I'm a Buddhist, I grew up as an altar boy from 5 years old. I was always in the choir. I was always up on a pedestal, in church, not just in school. And I went to Catholic school. I just have to wipe my nose. I think I got water on it. So I grew up in a spiritual environment. And then in my teenage years, I wasn't so sure about anything, and going through all this crazy stuff with my father, and found that the kidney stones. They said I would be dead by 21. I had kidney stones really bad, and that was as a result of my father beating us. That's another whole chapter of the book that I'm writing, and so I had these kidney stones. My sister too were in the Canadian history books as two of the youngest. People have kidney stones when they're 60, when they're in their 50s, 60s, 70s, when they've had a whole life of stress, and you're very acidic all the time. So ours was definitely brought on by the belt across the back and the stress all the time. I get them when I'm stressed, or when I ride across Europe all the way to Greece. I haven't had stones in like 7 years. I took my White Cloud, my bike, and being Canadian and all. Hello. I thought I heard somebody. Maybe they're going out. I'm in an Airbnb. I hope I'm not being too loud.
No, you're not. No. So
there's
so
nobody really here. So.
Yeah. So what is your definition of God?
There's so many ways to put it. Like I said, from the Bible, where did Jesus go when he disappeared in the desert?
But your definition, because we all have our own perception.
And the Buddhists, where he was taught how to walk on water, where he was taught they were doing that for 1,000 years. And then there's the whole God being, people drew them on walls and like aliens. They look like aliens, but they could have been saints, or they could have been angels, or they could have been a combination of both. But I've been out of my body 7 or 8 times now. and that we are spirits in the material world.
Mhm.
So I do the best. I have good karma, and I do the best I can in every situation. I do my best, and I'm rising, and I'm becoming more and more ethereal. And it's like if there's an opening happening, I'm out, I'm gone. I'm sure of it. Into the light, you know. So if, I don't know if that defines your question, but
No, of course. That's
or
why we all
answers
like
your
we all
question.
have our own perception, right? And there's no right or
Sure,
wrong answer
exactly.
ever,
That's
right?
right.
So if you could
Mhm.
change one thing in the world, only one thing in the world, what would it be and why?
Well, this war that's been raging next door to me, but that's only one war. There's, now Hezbollah and all these people are getting, they want Israel out of there. They've been squatting, and yeah, don't get me started on all that. There's all
Yeah,
kinds of
no.
other things that are, it's war, and we've had it
Yeah.
for 5,000 years. So is it going to stop? I doubt it. But being next door to a nuclear explosion, I don't think I'm going to really, it won't matter. I'm going to go to light anyway. So turn
Yeah.
on the lights.
Yeah, we'll find you out
But
there playing
I
your
don't
guitar.
worry about these things. I don't worry about them. I don't
Yeah.
preoccupy with them.
Yeah.
Live my life in the moment. Zen, if you want to say Zen Buddhist, I don't like to say I'm a Buddhist because I'm an omnist. I was in filming in Jordan, and Ramadan came, and I just loved it so much, and I said I'll stay. So my mate, who was drinking whiskey with me the day before, and a lot of it, said, "Okay, that's it for a month." They stop everything, and so I thought, you know what, I'll do the same. So I did. Fasted every day. I lost a lot of weight and everything. It was really groovy. We did iftars in the evening. A lot of stuff for children, orphan children, mostly Palestinian children that have been, made it over to Jordan because they were orphaned by their parents getting killed and whatever, murdered. And so what the heck was I going to say there? Yeah, so I read the Quran, and it's like, hey, there's Moses. Hey, there's Jesus, and there's Jesus again, and there's Moses. And wait a second, it's a tree that goes like this. And the Catholics and the Protestants decided we're going to split up here. And along came Constantinople, and he didn't like this part of the Bible, so he tore it out, and then it went that way. And it's like a tree, right? But we're all from the same roots.
Mhm.
Ooh, that was deep. Thank you. I'm here all week. Ooh, that was great. Don't edit that one out. I just have to. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot. I can do impressions really well too. But
Yeah.
I'll be quiet now.
So now
I'll be
you're
good.
you're also writing two major films for the UK. Like what is that about? Like,
Oh, the film scores, you mean? Yeah. Well, I'm also the dream career when I'm 70, and all of this craziness has passed by. I mean, I sort of have a life plan, sort of, kind of, and we see where it goes. But by the time I will be living in the Himalayas in the winter here in the Western world, and the Northern world, and then between Spain, Greece, it just depends how much money we can make on this thing. I want to give
yeah.
away a lot of money. I'm going to be helping charity all over the world, people who need it more than I do. So a good chunk of it will go to helping people, and especially my family, first and foremost, and
Mhm.
friends who are struggling as well. So, yeah, this isn't about money for me, not at all, or fame. I've been famous since I was 5.
Yeah.
I think I had I was going to say ask my mom, but she's gone. But I believe my sister might, but don't bother her. But she might tell you that, yeah, I think I was 12 and I had my ego meltdown. Well, I'm a top model in Toronto, and I remember like in Leo and everything else, and I had like a, ego breakdown, whatever, pissed everybody off, and everybody's like, hey, you know what? Put me in my place. Then I discovered Buddhism. I discovered Herman Hesse's book, which years later I gave to my daughter Laura one day after they went to a Christian camp for the weekend. I got my twins, and I'm like, okay, girls, so tell me about it. Tina's like, oh, Jesus loves me. She totally, that's it. She absorbed it. She got into it. Right? And Laura's like rolling her eyes, going, because she's like hyper intelligent like me, and I'm like, what do I do about this one? Okay, I see that, So I get back to my library in Vancouver. I had this huge library, and I'm looking at the wall, and I'm like, and there it was, Herman Hesse, Siddhartha. It's a book for everybody to read, everyone in the world, and it changed my life. That was just the beginning. for me back in the day, that's why I had a wall full of books. Now she started with that one, and then she got into more and more and more. And next thing she's reading Rosicrucians. She's reading
Yeah.
Tibetan Book of the Dead. She's reading, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Said Dead Sea Scrolls. They're all saying the same thing, and that's what I cut to: is love, love, love,
Mhm.
and be light and help. Just like the Ten Commandments, whatever. Pretty much the same message. The source, maybe different forms of the
Yeah.
source. Tap, definitely. You know, you can probably say more than this than I can, but
That's another
yeah,
show.
I've been a very spiritual guy for a long time. That's why
Yeah.
I'm still alive. They said I'd be dead at 21. I was like,
Hmm.
a little bit of attitude, and also
Hmm.
belief in God, belief in afterlife, belief in
Hmm.
goodness, and you know, I can stand in front of a Buddhist monk or Hell's Angel like this in front of them and not be afraid. You know, I'm just there's another soul, another human being.
Hmm.
So
Exactly. So like
good or
what are
bad.
you really, really grateful for? I mean, there could be like 100 million things. It could be anything. Like,
Life, every breath.
yeah.
I always say life in every breath, every cup of tea. It's it's just, yeah, and being in the moment. I think then life is full of richness. I have my days where I'm laying in bed and I don't want to get up, and I'm like, because I'm next door to the war in Greece now, I'm even closer, and I'm thinking,
Yeah.
it's the same thing when I was in Jordan at that time. At the end of Ramadan, I said, "Look, I have to take a break. I have to go." That was really cool, but there was a war raging next door in next door in Syria, 300 kilometers away, and I'm like, women,
Yeah.
children, people being murdered, killed, and I'm like, I gotta go. I can't sit next to this. I was like vibing. I'm a very well, I
Mhm.
don't want to nail it down as a psychic person, but I mean, I'm very,
Yeah.
lately, I'm like tuned in. I'm
Yeah.
really tuned in. And I've been
Yeah.
working on this path for many, many years, since the 70s. So I've sort of, I don't know what I'd call myself. Like I said, I'm a omnist, meaning I embrace it all. I embrace everything.
Yeah.
You,
Because,
thank you so much, because you're
oh,
brilliant. I've read a bunch of your stuff. I've
thank
sort
you.
of dominated here, and I'm not going to apologize because we're both
No.
Leos, but both cats. But you lead the way, and I will be quiet.
Oh, no, no, no worries. So,
You're
is there
very welcome.
anybody like who really inspires you, who you're like, you know what, that person is like a mentor to me? Like,
Well, this would
more
be a
one person
yeah,
you can,
yeah. This would be a continuum that started around the same time in the 70s, at 18 or so, when I started with the I'm okay, you're okay, Dr. Jess Lair. Started with the Bible and the psychology books. Okay, and I'd gotten busted for marijuana, like 35 kilos of it out in Chase, BC. But I ended up in Drumheller prison for 2 years. And so I read and I studied, and I had a couple outer body experiences, and I just I did was spiritually awakening
yeah,
time. It was a monastical experience for me, and
yeah.
it was kind of a medium maximum. So all the guys coming down from Archambault in Montreal
Mhm.
or Edmonton Max were all just chilling out. They just wanted to get out, you know what I mean? So they didn't cause any
Hmm.
trouble. So always the young Indian guys or the young white guys get all drunked up on shitty booze and everything. Meanwhile, I'm just eating guitar. Like I
Yeah.
got my grade 9 music in 2 years, and yeah, so that saved my life actually in prison. So we had a
Mhm.
music workshop, and we'd say, "How about that kid over there?" Like, instead of him going in there and being wrecked for life, we'll get him in here and get him on a guitar or whatever. See if he can do anything. One guy ended up just pushing broom for 2 years. Mouse, he was a little young. They would have just ate him up in the population. So we brought him in as our cleaning mouse, clean up the music. Anyways,
Mhm.
it's I've been working on my book.
Yeah, no, it's
So
exciting. It's exciting.
I'm
You'll have
wide
to,
open. I apologize
yeah,
because
you'll
the
have to
questions
let me know.
I haven't been answering very directly, and for this I have to
It's
apologize
a conversation.
and
It's
tell
like
a
a
whole big
chat, sitting
story around it,
down,
right?
having a chat, having a coffee and having a chat. So now,
Yeah.
what do you want to be remembered for? So if you were to pass away like this very second, right? What do you want to be remembered for? Like for what? Like,
I'll be in another shape or form.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
So
the
he passed
records will
away
show that
today.
I'm a good person, that I've been a good guy, that I've been a fair guy, that I've been a generous guy, that I've been trying to follow the right, always the white light path of righteousness and goodness. And the darkness is always showing to you and you're a reader, right? You do read people and stuff. And I did
Yeah.
it. I had to
Right
stop
through. Yeah.
because it spooked me out. I had to stop it because yeah, I have enough of my own stuff to do that. Yeah, but I can see through people. And even when I'm sitting, for example, here's an example, and I hope I don't go too long. I'll keep it short. Sitting in a German concert situation, or Dutch, or wherever, or somewhere, anywhere in the world, we always have a table afterwards to sell our merchandise, our CDs, our posters. We sign boobs, we sign albums, we sign whatever, T-shirts, and take pictures and so selfies. Well, I've gotten to the point now where there's 100 people in the line, and I'll sit there and shake a hand, and it'll be like, nice to meet you. Where are you from? I am always really quite open and friendly, and I speak a lot of languages, so I say a few things and just be kind and say, "What would you like?" and whatever. And sometimes it's like, bzz, bzz, like, holy cow, do I know you? Well, I don't know, like, the mutual connection thing. It's only happened like most of the musicians on my team, on our label. I met them in South Africa, I met them in Norway, I met them on the road, and just went, this person's a freaking star. And I don't mean like,
Yeah.
mold them into some fake thing, but they're just a natural. So our label is all natural, and everybody's keeping 80% of their royalties, and we're taking the 20%, like a management fee, whatever, to take care of them and make sure their royalties are collected. That's the good thing about Netflix and everything, is that you have the royalties, you have your sponsors. I can, put on whatever I want. I'm not gonna like this. I'm doing this all for my daughters, for my twin daughters. Hi, Laura. Hi, Tina. And their daughters and their daughters, children, and sons, and however far we go. It's not for me.
Yeah.
Anyways.
No, absolutely.
Yep.
That's wonderful. Well, we're about to wrap up here, and
Okay.
it's been such a great pleasure, Pat. Like, I know you're really busy, right? And I'm
Well, I'm
really
trying to be
honored you took
present
the
here.
time.
Mhm.
I mean, we've been chatting on and off for quite
Yeah,
some
I've been
time.
trying. I've been babbling a little bit, and I hope you
Oh,
can work with it because it's all
I
open and
never,
honest. And
people have to be people. It's just be yourself, regardless of what.
yeah,
Keep
just
it real. That's the thing. Keep it real. Just be yourself. That's the only thing that matters. Babble or no babble, it's
okay.
irrelevant,
I'm very
right?
tired after 1 week in England, zooming around on
Yeah,
the bloody tube and limos and taxis and just hustling. I had so much work to do there. I've
yeah,
actually taken a few days here to just chill.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I'm still busy, but I'm not
yeah.
running
Well,
around busy.
exactly.
I'm online busy.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
I
you
got
have
stuff
to
going
have
on.
that
You have a
space.
client or something coming up, so I appreciate this, and please keep
Oh,
in touch.
yes, of
I'll
course.
be doing a radio show myself soon. I did one before, and I'm going to do it again. I studied broadcasting for 2 years, and I got that radio voice. Dan Aykroyd. I just love him. One of my heroes. He's up in Kingston way, and every time I'm there to visit him, I never say a word. I believe it or not. I'm like, I just listen to him, just free flow and aliens to ancient history to. He's just such a brilliant guy. I've got a towel off here. It's so hot in this place. It went Spain. It's 82 degrees here.
Yes.
That's 42 or 40. Yeah, it's hot. And
Yeah.
it's moist hot. And Greece is even hotter. We filmed the episode just before it got hot, and then
Yeah.
I'm like waiting now for Egypt to cool down because we're gonna do Egypt, Morocco, and then we'll go to Nepal closer to the Christmas time.
Yeah.
So we'll have 6 episodes,
Yeah.
and away we go.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you so much for having me, and I apologize for not being totally on. I'm really tired,
I
but I
know.
hope it's good and
No, it'd be perfect. It'd be
entertaining.
fine.
And,
Don't worry. My goodness sakes.
okay, cool. No,
I'm
not
always,
worried. Just ask.
yeah, I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful, that you took the
Thank you. You
time
too.
to chat with
Namaste.
me as well. And, we'll put your information, of course, below, and people can, take a look and see all of your work and everything like that. And I want to thank everyone, of course, for watching. another episode of Soul to Soul Connections with Jeni Ji. I'm your host, Jeni Ji Cousins, and I'm wishing you all a day of much love and much light. And make sure that you're grateful for even the smallest things, the tiniest things, no matter what. So thanks again for everyone for watching. Make sure you've subscribed to my channel in order to see the content. I'm on a lot of different platforms. That's where you'll catch me. So from now, namaste, everyone. And thank you again, Pat. I really, really appreciate it.